Hello, everybody. I am so happy that you are here today. Welcome to Bluebird and Bee Tarot. We are going to be getting messages from your ancestors today. And I'm filming the introduction last. I've already filmed the piles. And man, some of your ancestors have some very powerful messages for you. I am really excited, honestly, for you to dive into these readings. So we have 4 piles to choose from today. Number 1 is the Fool. Yeah, so if you feel like you are embarking on a brand new journey, then we have the Star. That's pile 2. The Empress, pile 3. And pile 4 is Strength. Okay, I'm going to give you a minute to take a look at the piles, meditate, see which one you're drawn to. You can absolutely be drawn to more than one. There might be messages for you in all of them, but it can be the meaning of the card that you're drawn to. It can be the artwork. Maybe you always choose a particular pile. People have lots of different ways of choosing. But yeah, I'm going to give you a minute to just kind of take a look, decide, see where your spirit is drawing you to. And if you need longer than I give you during the course of the video, you can always pause it. The timestamps are down below in the description, and I will meet you at your pile. Hello, pile 1. If you chose the Fool, then you have arrived at your reading. So this is a beautiful choice. Just speaking of new adventures, new pathways, new just life being breathed into your existence. I love it. So yeah, let's take a look at what your ancestors have to say. I love readings like this that are big. Ooh, that really wanted to come out. Yeah, we'll set the Fool card aside. I love readings like this that are about what do your ancestors have to say? What does your spirit team have to say? What does spirit want you to know? That type of thing, because it's just a reminder that even in moments when we feel isolated from the people in our life for whatever reason, we're never really alone, because we have a whole cheering and support section on the other side that wants nothing more than for us to succeed and be fulfilled and grow, and they are consistently working to make that happen, and I love that. Alrighty. So we've got Shout, and then we've got Embrace the balance, and then so the Shocker card is Balance. It says embrace the balance between earth and spirit. Yeah, so and the crystals that are referenced are clear quartz, rose quartz, and hematite. Wisdom, wow. Wisdom and balance. Those are 2 great tastes that taste great together. Love to see that. What else, Spirit? What else? Okay, and then we've got Stillness, a period of rest and inactivity. Go within for the answers that you seek. Okay, so I feel like the main message here, I actually feel like it's pretty simple. The main message that your ancestors want to send you is that you don't need to distract yourself with a lot of external noise because you're afraid to let yourself speak during the quiet moments. That can be incredibly scary, but that is actually what you need to go toward. There is a lot of inner wisdom that you are missing out on because you are either feeling the need to shout yourself, or you're surrounding yourself with a lot of other people in your life that are shouting. Yeah, so I've been following a lot of deconstruction accounts on Instagram, YouTube, etc., which, if you're not familiar with the idea of deconstruction, it's when you were raised in a very like a high control religion, or like just a very like strictly boundaried or strictly ruled religious environment growing up, and then you have moved on to, clearly, hi, I'm your friendly neighborhood tarot reader. I've clearly moved on to a much more inclusive spiritual belief, but there's a lot of processing to be done. There's a lot to work through there. And yeah, so something that they were talking about on a podcast I was listening to this week is about how so many people just feel so much more comfortable when someone will tell them with like this air of ultimate authority, this is what you should do, this is what you should believe. It just makes them feel better not to have to be the one wrestling with those decisions. But the truth is, that is the work of being human. That is the work that our souls are called to do in this incarnation, is to connect with our own inner wisdom, to connect to our own moral compass, to connect to, yes, the downloads from spirit, but the one thing that we are 100% not called to do in this incarnation is to put ourselves under the guidance of a blowhard who gives us a list of rules to follow. And then, we judge ourselves by how stringently we can follow those rules. That is not the path. And I do feel like a lot of people, because no one can live up to, set aside the idea of whether you even should live. Are these the right rules? That's what a lot of people, interestingly, I think that's where they kind of start a deconstruction, is thinking about, are these rules that I've been handed the right rules? But the question that you really should be asking is the point that there are rules? Do you know what I mean? It's like, we are meant to have a compass inside that tells us this is right. This is something that adds beauty to the world, or this is something that adds love to the world, or this is something that you do to spiritually grow and ascend, or this is something that you do to support other people in their journey. And we are meant to grow and understand that things that help are good and things that hurt are bad, which sounds like, it's like that book, Everything I Need to Know About Life I Learned in Kindergarten, or something like that, which, yes, accurate in a broad sense. But I think when it comes to the nitty gritty, right, it's a simple concept that can sometimes seem complicated when the rubber meets the road. How many of us have been in situations where we desperately want to do the right thing, but what we're struggling to figure out is what is the right thing? Yeah, and I think that is the point when it becomes so much more comfortable to have someone shouting a set of rules at you, and you can just shrug your shoulders and release responsibility and say, hey, I followed the rules. I don't know what you want from me. But what your ancestors are saying is what they want, what spirit wants, what your soul actually wants when it comes down to it, is for you to get still, to get quiet, to still the noise that surrounds you, to block out the shouting, and figure out what your own soul is actually telling you. And spirit will give you advice, you will get intuitive downloads about where you are meant to go and what you are meant to do. Your ancestors will give you downloads and send you their energy to help you. Your crossed over loved ones, you have so much support. But the work of this incarnation is to figure out what your soul is telling you. And that is scary work, and it is hard work. But your ancestors know you're up to the task, And so they're calling you to begin that work or to deepen that work. Tell me more, Spirit. What do Pile 1's ancestors want them to know? What do Pile 1's ancestors want them to know? Am I holding the deck upside down? Is a question that I ask myself way more than a professional tarot reader actually should. The answer is generally yes. Okay, well, this is actually quite beautiful. Pile 1. Yeah, the first thing I can see coming through here is that your ancestors really don't want you to doubt yourself. They want you to commit to this journey, this new path. Yeah, that we started this out with you choosing the Fool card. They want you to commit to this new path and not second guess your decision. Yeah, we are so like wired, I guess would be the right word, to never let our decisions sit firmly within us as the right thing to do. I don't know if that's, human nature, or maybe it's societal, or I'm not really sure, but I do know that almost everybody that I have talked to in just so many situations, when they commit to a partner, when they commit to a job, when they commit to quitting a job, there are so many big decisions that we make in life. And in many of them, the path gets really rough after we take action on that decision. And without fail, every person I talk to starts doubting whether they made the right decision. And I feel like, with the Four of Wands being followed up by the Eight of Swords, if you commit to this journey of diving within, of, what is that phrase that used to be, people used to say it as a joke, like, take a long swim in deep, or take a deep dive into Lake You, something like that. But if you commit to do that, yeah, it's going to be freaking unsettling. Like, you're likely, if you start digging into your deeper self, you are likely going to uncover some dark stuff. We all have it. It's shadow work. It's trauma. It's all this stuff. And yeah, there may be moments when you feel like, I would rather turn around and go back. Thank you very much. But internal work is like those magic eye posters. Once you see the picture, you can't unsee it. So I feel like they are telling you, don't doubt your commitment to this journey. This is the right journey. Digging within, going within, connecting with yourself, that's never a wrong choice. But that doesn't mean it's going to be smooth or without pain. I mean, I think that that's a huge misconception out there about so many different kinds of decisions, is that if you make the right decision, that means that it should be hard. And if you make a decision and take action on it, and then you get a bad reaction from the people around you, or, it doesn't go to plan, or all of these things, that means it was a wrong decision. No, there are so many right decisions out there that come with a price. In fact, I would venture to say most of them do. Yet just because something is hard doesn't mean it's not right. And I feel like that is the category that this is likely to fall into for you is that it is the hard thing to do and it is the right thing to do. Yeah, and with the Nine of Pentacles, I feel like that is them telling you that there will be so many rewards to reap afterward. And they are going to come in the form of wisdom and confidence. And yeah, this Nine of Pentacles came out on top of this shout card. You are going to reach a place where not only do you not need to surround yourself by people who are shouting the rules at you, but you will be able to stand up and confidently use your own voice. And when you have detractors, you will be able to stand up to them. There's even a phrase for that, to shout them down, that you will be able to use your own voice to overcome their voices of criticism, of dissension. Absolutely. But with this Six of Pentacles, I think that there's two meanings I'm getting from that. One of them is that I think the ultimate place that you are going to reach is where you are going to share this journey with the world, whether that's on a small scale with your friends and family, or whether that's on a large scale. Like, I can't even tell you how helpful listening to all of these deconstruction accounts, podcasts, Instagram, TikTok, all of that stuff has been, just to know that there are other people out there going through the same journey. Sharing your journey and sharing your wisdom is so helpful to other people in the world. And you don't have to have like the hottest take. Like, it's your journey. That's what makes it unique. And I feel like you will be a person who is very willing to help other people that are walking your same path, but you have walked it first, so you know where the twists and turns are, and you can turn around and give some other people that are on the path behind you a bit of a heads up about some potential things that might be in front of them. I think that you are the kind of person that would very generously give of your time and your effort in that way, and your emotional labor as well. Let's not discount that. But the other sort of side message that I'm getting here is that this spirit of generosity that I think you bring so beautifully to the people around you, don't forget to extend that to yourself, especially as you are going through this path, as you are walking the more difficult parts of this path. Don't make it harder on yourself by drowning yourself in self-recrimination. Be generous to yourself, and also keep your eye on the prize. Know that this is not a forever journey. This is a path that has a beginning and it has a destination, which is not to say that we ever stop growing or stop learning, but it's like one of those magic eye posters. When you have a revelation that you really can trust your own intuition, and you start to have confidence in that it usually sticks with you. And even if there's moments of doubt in the future or moments of hardship, it's never quite the same. You always have yourself on your side after that, and there's really no substitute for that. Okay, let's get some channeled messages. What do your ancestors have to say to you, pile one? Love will find you. Just be open and ready to receive it. Okay, and that came out right on top of the Four of Wands, which in the context of love readings is the marriage card. So yeah, even non-love readings, even when I'm just like, hey, ancestors, why don't you tell pile one what's going to be going on in their lives? And your ancestors are like, oh, they're going to find love. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Side message there. Meditate more, ground yourself. Yes, absolutely. There are tools to utilize along this journey. Meditation, affirmations, communing with nature, anything that makes you feel just extremely connected to the 5D and connected to yourself, connected to your own sense of inner knowing. And you know those moments when you just feel like, yes, this is me, this is who I am, this is who I'm meant to be. Yeah, find more opportunities to revel in those moments. You already know the answer. Yes, you don't need an authority telling you the answers. The answer is in you. The work of this incarnation is to connect with that answer. And your soul will let you know when it's the right thing. That's, in this community, we say that something resonates, which just means we feel the truth of it when the words hit our ears. And yeah, most people have had that experience at one point or another. And that's another way to approach life in a very spiritual, meditative way, is that you chase those moments of hearing truth and your soul recognizes it. Only surround yourself with high-valued people and energies. Absolutely. This is a fragile time when you first start a journey of self-discovery, especially if you are leaving a situation that is high control. In fact, this is a good rule of thumb, because when I say things like high control religion, many people would not realize that, like when I was in it, I wouldn't have thought of what I was in as a high control religion. It's not like we lived on a commune or something, but here's a good rule of thumb. Do they tell you what it's okay to think or not think? Is there such a thing as thought crimes in, your organization or the philosophy that you were raised in? That's a high control religion. They're not just trying to control your actions. They're even trying to control your thoughts. Yeah, and it doesn't even have to be a religion. I mean, maybe you're in an MLM and you're starting to see the dark side, or like, who knows? Who knows? Maybe it's even just a group of friends, or it's just revisiting the things that were, maybe it's a family. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of times our family of origins have very, very strong family cultures that don't align with who we genuinely are, authentically are as people. So yeah, whatever the high control group is, if they tell you what it's okay to think and what it's very much not okay to think, that's high control. So when you first start to leave a high control environment, you are at a very fragile place. Yeah, you are emotionally fragile. Your commitment to that journey is fragile. You are fragile. Extend the kind of grace to yourself that says, right now I need support. What I can't have right now is criticism. And that sounds like I am saying don't ever take constructive criticism, and that's very much not what I'm saying. I'm just saying love yourself enough to recognize when you are at junctures in your life where you really need to be surrounded by support and you are too fragile for criticism in that moment. And I feel like the beginning of this journey is one of those junctures. It's time to share your story. Your story is so powerful, it can help others share your truth. Yes, that is that Six of Pentacles that was the outcome of the tarot cards. This is your destiny, pile one. Don't feel pressure to share your story until you feel some conclusion or some closure to it. Or, this is another thing that you can trust your own soul to tell you when the time is right, but you are destined for your story to help others. Absolutely. Like, there's so much peace in knowing, in whatever situation you're struggling with, there's so much peace in knowing there are other people out there who have experienced the same thing. And that is the peace that you are meant to bring to people, pile one. Ooh, again with the romance-centric cards. you're about to meet the reason why you couldn't settle. So maybe this actually, for some people, this might not be for everybody listening, but maybe for some people, this high control situation you're leaving was a bad relationship. And you are about to, as you're going down this journey, this path is meant to lead you toward the reason why your soul was calling you to leave, and your ancestors were encouraging that call. They're like, no, you are too good for the way this person is treating you, pile one. Please go on a journey of self-discovery and learn that fact. These were some beautiful messages. And I like, your energy is immaculate, pile one. Like, I have loved sitting in it, and your ancestors are rooting for you so hard. And they really just want you to come into the power of seeing yourself through their eyes and understanding just how incredibly special you are. So if that is what I have for you, and if this resonated, I would love it if you would subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this. Comment down below about your situation and how this ties in if you feel comfortable. I love reading comments. I love to interact with the comments. I do offer personal readings. You can find the information in the description. But more than anything, I am just so glad that you're here, and I hope to see you again on another day. And I want to wrap up by letting you know that I am proud of you. You matter, you are loved, you are worthy, and you are enough. Okay, bye, pile one. Hello, pile two. If you chose the star, then you have arrived at your reading. And yeah, I love the star. I think that was such a beautiful choice because the star speaks to healing. It speaks to guidance. And yeah, I just think we're going to have some really lovely messages from your ancestors that are going to come through. Okay. Oh, interesting that the pile choice was a celestial energy. Then the very first card that comes out in the oracles is Earth. So yeah, I think maybe some of this is going to speak to balance. Oneness, yes, and then, yes, okay. So then the next card we get is oneness. So you are part of the universe and always will be. So already, before we even get the other two oracle cards, I'm picking up that you may be in a situation where you feel very earthbound. So maybe you have a lot of financial concerns. Maybe your days are taken up with, just adulting, like taking care of kids, earning a living, keeping the house clean. And maybe you have started to feel the pressure of that, the weight of that, and how it is taking away from your spirituality, your connection with the divine. And yeah, I feel like this is a call. And ooh, look how, you wouldn't even necessarily notice purple in this Earth card. You would think oh, it's shades of black and gray. But when you put this oneness card down over it, all of a sudden you can see here, shades of purple, here, shades of purple. Absolutely. So I feel like that's such a powerful message that even if your mind and your time is largely taken up by earthly concerns at this point in your life, there is divinity to be found, first of all, in those activities, but divinity is always inside of you. And just even contemplating that idea for one moment, laying this card, this crown chakra, card of oneness over the card of this earthly concerns, pulls out the divinity in these earthly concerns. So yeah, I would say that would be one way to reconnect with the divine, to reconnect with that star energy inside yourself, is to open up your frame of mind to the beautiful celestial, divine 5D qualities that can be found in everyday tasks. And, a lot of everyday tasks are caretaking tasks. Whether you're only taking care of yourself, or whether it's yourself and an animal, or whether you've got, 11 kids that you're taking care of. This could also be career. You might be in a position of authority in your career. There might be a lot of people depending on you there. And there are different kinds of caretaking tasks that have to be done. But there is divinity in caretaking. Doesn't necessarily always feel like it when you're in the, picking up dog poop, doing dishes, changing diapers, putting kids to bed trenches, but there is divinity to be found in that. And it's in the connection that comes when you are generous enough with another being to take responsibility to care for them lovingly. Even if that other, quote unquote, other being is just your physical earthly self. Yeah, with that risk card pile too, I feel like there's something inside you that's shake things up. Shake things up. Yeah, this might be a call to sort of upend your whole life. Only you will know that. But I also believe that there are ways to significantly shake things up that are internal. You can start on a whole spiritual path, and from the outside looking in, if someone were viewing your life from the other side of glass, it would look exactly the same. But internally, which is sort of where we experience the majority of life, everything's different. Yeah, look at this inner calling, an internal shift, awaking to a greater sense of purpose. Absolutely. Yeah, and okay, ancestors, good one. So I feel like you are perhaps at risk, okay, of taking big chances, taking big swings, engaging in risk-taking behavior to address the restlessness that you're feeling that can actually only be addressed by this inner shift, by reconnecting with the divine. So I feel like this is actually a very important message that your ancestors are wanting to bring to you at this time, because, yeah, they might be saying hey, pile 2, you got to nip this in the bud and actually address the real issue before you do some things that are going to have some serious consequences. Yeah, I don't want to speak over you these things that might be happening, but I mean, risk-taking behaviors would be things like driving too fast, not caring about the consequences, drinking too much, using, substances to substitute or to mask these internal feelings of, ennui that you are experiencing. Yeah, thoughtless sex that you might regret later. Yeah, when we go through what is a very normal human process, so please don't feel like I'm judging you whatsoever. This is extremely typical human stuff. But when we start to feel trapped, we start to become uncomfortable with those feelings, we push them down and numb them, and then there arises this desire to feel anything, no matter what it is, just to feel alive. And then we engage in risk-taking behaviors sometimes. And yeah, I mean, it makes no logical sense to think that feeling something bad would be preferable to feeling nothing. But yeah, pro tip, brains, not always logical. And yeah, I think that you might be at a powerful decision point right now. And I feel like what your ancestors want to intervene on here is to make sure that you are making a conscious decision rather than just a reactive decision to either the uncomfortable feelings that you're feeling, or if you've progressed past that, to the kind of numb nothingness that you're feeling. Yeah, they don't want to see you address that in a way that's going to hurt you. They really have your best interests at heart, pile 2. They really do. And they're not judging you whatsoever. Like, we have a tendency to judge ourselves so much more harshly than the people who love us and root for us would ever dream of judging us. So this is not coming from a place of judgment. This is coming from a place of them wanting to see you satisfied, fulfilled, succeed. Okay, what else, Spirit? What else do pile 2's ancestors have to tell them? Oh, yep, upside down again. Yeah, look at that 4 of Cups. Just so melancholy. But the 4 of Cups can also come across as just numb, nothingness, grayness. Oh, nope, I don't even see that. It flipped so far off the table that I can't even see where it went right now. And yeah, that could be very metaphorical for the risk-taking behaviors that you might start feeling drawn to. You're like, I just need to take a big leap. And yeah, there's even on this risk card, there's someone taking a huge leap. But then what happens is you take such a huge leap that you jump right off the table and you fall on the floor so far from the tarot table that Melanie can't even see where you went. So that's not the desired outcome. Yeah, with this Queen of Pentacles, I'm noticing all the butterflies. Butterflies are a really powerful symbol of transformation. Oh, and the 6 of Pentacles came out in pile 1 as well, in the exact same position. So, yeah, if you felt drawn to pile 1 at all, it might have messages for you. Yeah, that's interesting that one of the things I said early on in the Oracle cards is there might be messages that have to do with balance in this reading, and then Justice came out. Yeah, I feel like that is the crux of the problem, is the scales are out of balance right now. Yeah, this reminds me of, I don't know if you've ever had this experience, but when your stomach doesn't feel quite right, and then you're like, well, maybe if I just eat some saltines, and then that kind of helps, but not really, and you're like, yeah, I'm going to drink some 7-Up. Then an hour later, you're like, no, I feel like I just really need maybe something sweet. That goes on like that for a while until the new problem becomes that you're full. And that also feels uncomfortable. So yeah, I feel like part of the issue with the way that you have handled this series of unfolding events up until now is that you have been trying to, like, well, let me just pile this one thing on one side of the scale to see if I can balance it. But then that puts that side of the scale down too far because that thing was too heavy. It's like, oh, let me find something else to put. Like, you're trying to balance these scales, but you're trying to do it under your own steam and without actually addressing the root of the issue. Oh my God, you know what this is like? When you're in first grade and your mom tries to cut bangs And it's like, well, let me just even it out a little bit. No, now it's the other side is too. Let me just even that out a little bit. And before you know it, your bangs are half an inch. And you're like, please don't send me to school this way. Yeah, that actually never happened to me, but I do know people, like there are people in my family that did happen to, like my extended family. And it became a very classic family story because there is photographic evidence. I feel like if it was just a story that was told in words, they might have lived it down. But yeah, if there's art, no, that's never happening. You're never living that down. And honestly, like that is sort of a lighthearted story, which actually just hit me in a very hard way as I was saying that last line, because I feel like your ancestors are trying to step in before you might take some actions that will follow you for a really long time. Wow. So this is just, I'm going to be real honest about the fact that I'm going to exit channeling for a moment, and I'm just going to give you a piece of advice just from me, Melanie, to you, pile 2, human to human, from someone who cares about you. Good rule of thumb, never make big decisions when internally you are scrambling to feel alive. It's never going to be a good decision. I mean, of course, there might be anecdotal evidence of something that was, but I'm talking about rule of thumb. The other thing is your internal barometer for what is a fucked up thing to do and what is actually fine is not calibrated right now. Things are going to seem fine to you. Things are going to seem like, it doesn't matter. It matters. It matters. When you are in a state where you are just like, I need to feel something has to change, never trust your internal voice when they say, it's fine. It's fine. That, like, chances are it's not. So, okay, exiting advice mode back into channeling mode. I did want to be clear that that was coming from me and not your ancestors because, take it with a grain of salt. Take everything any tarot reader says with a grain of salt, honestly. If it resonates, it resonates. Let it speak to you. If it feels wrong, you are under no obligation to take it. But I feel like I just wanted to give even a little bit more of a disclaimer to let you know that that was just my mini TED Talk that was inserted to the middle of this reading. Alrighty, so back to channeling. Yeah, I feel like you are in search of stability right now. Or comfort, coziness. Yeah, the sense of rightness, the sense of balance. That's what I think you're really searching for. Peace. But I feel like with the symbols on this Queen of Pentacles card will tell you that the way that you do that is through study, first of all. So reading books that really make you feel seen, but also challenge you. Yeah, I was talking with Pile 1 about how I've been listening to a lot of deconstruction content lately, which is basically when you come from a background of a high control religion and you are going through a process of deconstructing the assumptions that you were always taught as part of that religion, and you're starting to come to your own moral conclusions. So I think whatever the process that you are going through with spiritual ascension right now, it's gonna kind of mirror that. So yeah, finding content, for whether it's books, podcasts, YouTube channels, finding a community of people that are, first of all, walking this path along with you, but also people that have already walked it and have some wisdom to share. So yeah, with this book, I think that represents study. With these butterflies, I think that represents transformation. The thing about a caterpillar transforming to a butterfly is that they have to give themselves over to that transformation entirely. There's no half-assing it. There's no I do want to be a butterfly, but I don't want to go in the cocoon. Which, yeah, if they knew what was coming in the cocoon, I feel like that would be the obvious reaction. But there's no way to get to butterfly without cocoon. So I feel like you really need to give yourself over to this. And then finally with this rabbit here, yeah, rabbits, like they move, like they are fast. And so I feel like this is the act of diving in to your internal transformation before you give yourself time to talk yourself out of it. And yeah, there is going to be a period of discomfort. These kinds of transformations are painful. And I think that's what you have numbed yourself to try to avoid. But you will reach a place where the scales are balanced. Yeah, you will reach a place where, yeah, I feel like it really is going back to the oracle cards. I feel like the balance between earthly concerns and spiritual concerns is something that you have not been able to find the right formula or what have you. Like you have not been able to figure out how to balance those scales. But this journey will bring you there. And again, Jess, I feel the exact same energy for these Six of Pentacles as I did for pile 1. That when you have reached kind of the pinnacle or the conclusion of the main part of this transformation, which is not to say that it's not going to come up in one form or another at different times through the rest of your life, but when you have, really reached the end of the portion of your journey where this is the focus, that you are going to be generous with that wisdom and share it with others in your life or even beyond if it's on a situation like social media. But also that you need to be generous with yourself and extend grace to yourself as you're going through this journey, because these journeys are never easy. They are a lot of things. They are necessary. They are powerful. They are the best thing that ever happened to you in retrospect. But one thing they never are is easy. Taking care of yourself is essential right now. Make time for yourself. Yeah, so if you are in a situation where you are very overwhelmed with earthly concerns, the idea of blocking out time for yourself in your calendar may be very overwhelming. And so I would encourage you to look at your daily schedule and try to figure out times where you can sort of like stack, where you can utilize time that is already being devoted to something and make that thing also meditative or a learning experience. For instance, on your commute, maybe you can listen to a podcast that speaks to your spiritual journey. In the shower, you can't exactly meditate in the shower, but maybe you can approach a shower in a meditative way. Think about the mind-body connection as you experience the tactile sensations of water, of scrubbing. Think about the spiritual metaphor of starting clean each day, starting fresh. Yeah, maybe on your lunch break, if weather permits, you can even just eat outdoors. Take that opportunity to commune with nature as you're feeding your body, feed your soul as well. Not right now. Find something else to focus on while we work on this for you. I think that goes along with the Six of Pentacles. Yeah, pile 2, I think you're the kind of person that just takes a lot of responsibility onto yourself. And I mean that emotionally and kind of logistically. I think that if you hit a rough patch, if it seems like I've been working on this ascension forever and I feel so stalled, I feel like you would take that personally. You would try to figure out, like, how am I doing this wrong? What do I need to change? So I do feel like that's recognizing that there is also a place for rest in this journey and letting your spirit team work on your behalf. Yes, yes, yes. And yeah, I feel like I am seeing like a little league game where all the little kids are sort of running around the bases and all the parents are in the stands cheering. That's your spirit team, pile 2. They want your success so much. And when they see you, achieving even a small victory, they are so excited and cheering you on. Your light will irritate many unhealed souls. Well, I mean, yeah, probably. That's the way of the world. People always have something to say. Don't let it get to you. Do not let it get to you, pile 2. Make plans and focus. You have to be devoted and committed if you want to see the change that you seek. Yeah, absolutely. Like dive in wholeheartedly. And I think, especially at the beginning, baby steps. There is a tendency, I know I definitely haven't, maybe it's neurodivergence, but I feel like most people can fall into this trap as well, is like, say you're starting a weight loss journey. You're like day 1, you're like, yes, I'm going to eat within these super strict macros. I'm going to drink, a gallon of water every day. I'm going to walk 10 miles every day. You have 70 gajillion plans. And then the wheels come off the bus on day 1 and you're like, well, that was it for the weight loss journey. Apparently it's not for me. Yeah, baby steps are much easier to commit to. So I would say choose one thing. Choose one small habit that you can stack and commit to doing that. And once that becomes kind of a part of you, choose another baby step and then go there. Don't fall victim to feeling like, well, now I'm going on a silent retreat for a month and that's the only way to get this done. No, nothing is ever the only way to get anything done. Okay, mixed signals yield mixed results. Make sure you are clear about what you are attracting. Yeah, so this definitely has to do with finding balance because mixed signals, what is that except for the two sides of the scales of justice going up and down and up and down? You are at a place in your life where finding this balance is really critical. And your ancestors know that, and they want to see you start down this journey now because the sooner you start, the sooner you finish, which means the sooner that you achieve this sense of peace and warmth that you are looking for. And again, with this yes, 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 they want nothing but the best for you, pile 2. Alrighty, so that is what I have for you. If you enjoyed this reading, I would love it if you would subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this. Share in the comments how this relates to you. I would love that. I do offer personal readings if you want to connect with me in that way. The information's in the description. But mostly I am just so happy that you are here today, and I hope to see you again on another day. And I want to end this by letting you know that I am proud of you. You matter, you are loved, you are worthy, and you are enough. Okay, bye, pile 2. Hello, pile 3. If you chose the Empress, then you have arrived at your reading. Let's dive in. I love the fact that the Empress really speaks of creativity and bringing new things into the world. And I'm excited to see what your ancestors have to say on that topic of all of the new, innovative, exciting, creative, passionate projects that you have to bring into the world, pile 3. Okay, we've got listen. Oh, interesting. Then we've got expression. Express your true self. Yeah, so I already feel like that's such a fascinating juxtaposition, that with the Empress being the marker card for this pile, which is a card of expression. It is a card of giving birth to new and unique creative ideas, that the very first card we got was listen. It's a card of taking in. And then the second card we get is expression. It's a card of synthesizing. So yeah, I think that there is a really important point to be made there, a really important lesson to learn about the fact that you have nothing to put out, nothing to offer if you aren't, if you aren't taking in. Yeah, in fact, I saw a writer once. I don't remember the context. I think it was likely at a conference or something. So I don't, ADHD, hello. I don't think I'm going to remember exactly who it was. But she talked about how her writing process was very strictly defined, that she wrote from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every day. And then she would stop at 10 a.m. Even if she was on a roll, she would stop and she would then pack up her writing, close the laptop and leave the house and spend the rest of the day out just experiencing the world and experiencing life. Because she just felt like if you're not taking in life, how can you write about life? Yeah, I think that is really, with journey. Yeah, you've got to, if you're going to bring art to the world in whatever form, even if it's not what one would classically think of as a creative expression, even if you're bringing your philosophy, your unique point of view, that's still art. That's still unique expression. But yeah, if you're going to bring your particular take on this journey of life to the world, to your people, how can you have a take if you're not out there actively pursuing a journey? Yeah, and the expression card says, express your true self, the world needs you. And I actually just got chills up and down my arm when I said that last part of the sentence, the world needs you. You're bringing something to the table that nobody else is bringing, pile 3. Ooh, I absolutely love the blue of the throat chakra here. The blue representing throat chakra. This card of temperance here, peace and patience, tranquility, moderation, and creates harmony. Look at how that is all suffused in blue. The Empress's dress is this very standout blue pattern that actually reminds me of sky and clouds in a way. She's wearing this crown of blue flowers. Yeah, I really like that. And the only two cards here that don't really have a strong theme of blue are listen and journey. So yeah, I feel like there is a very strong delineation being created here between the part of your creative process where you take in and the part where you synthesize and put out into the world. And yeah, so this temperance here, peace and patience, tranquility, I almost feel like that's the cocoon phase. Like here we have listen and journey. That's your caterpillar phase. Then you go into temperance. Like you've got to let it marinate. You can't just expect it. Yeah, you're not fast food. You're not McDonald's, pile 3. Like it has to marinate. It has to be like slow roasted. It has to be, smoked for 10 hours or like, I'm not a cook. I don't know why I always dive into these metaphors and worlds that I don't have a lot of familiarity with. And yeah, I get very quickly lost in them. But yeah, I also think that it is largely like that, the triangle of home improvement that the contractors talk about, that you can have, like, the 3 points of the triangle are fast, good, and cheap, and you can only have 2 of the 3. I feel like fast is the part of that triangle that the world has been pressuring you to be, pile 3. The world wants output, content, the algorithm, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube even, although not quite as much as the short form focused platforms. But yeah, it's like, always be feeding us, always be feeding the beast. Give us a little hot take. And not that I don't think you're good at hot takes, pile 3. I bet you have some really awesome hot takes. But I also think that you have some more considered content within you that will come out in a way that is much more profound if you do give it time to just like cool down and settle and harden and solidify. I think you're going to see some really gorgeous and like stunning, surprising patterns form in your mind and in your heart and soul that would just never have had the time to present themselves, to make themselves known, if you didn't give yourself that marinating time. Because that's the point of marinating, right? Is to let the flavors fully sink in and to let flavors develop. That's the other point of it. So I think that's a pretty apt metaphor. And I even think flavors is a very apt metaphor. I think colors would be an apt metaphor, because it's not, I don't think it's the overarching idea that needs time to develop. I think it's the details. I think it's the nuances. Yeah, that nuances, that's an important word here, because I also think, in this sort of, post every day, give us your little hot takes, like give us your controversial reaction, stitch this one controversial thing with your controversial take on it. And trust me, like, I love that stuff with the best of them. However, I also think that it's one form of getting a point of view across. It's one form of expression. And I think that long form expression, reflective expression, very considered and nuanced expression can get lost in the shuffle of the hot take cycle. So I think you're being called to slow down a little bit in your creative journey. And just to be more mindful of each part of the journey, of the caterpillar portion, of the cocoon portion, and yes, then with expression, eventually with the butterfly portion. But I think that is sort of the main thing that's being emphasized here, is the idea that there's no shortcut to butterfly. You've got to go through, the first 2 steps might not be as glamorous, but they are very foundationally necessary for the kind of glory of the final step of butterfly. Now, with the 4 of Cups, you might be kind of going through something right now, pile 3. Like a heartbreak or grief journey. And, and so I think that there is a temptation when your heart is really sad And when your heart is in pain, artistic expression can be a way to feel an escape from that, like, letting a pressure valve off. Yeah, so I think you're being called here to look at artistic expression as a really necessary part of the journey, yes, but not as a way to let just enough pressure off that you escape the pain enough to forget it. I think that there's processing that needs to be done here, and the little quick hits of processing are part of that, but don't use them as a way to ignore or push down pain that eventually is going to need to be processed, synthesized in a deeper and more reflective way. Yeah, I don't always take reversals, but I feel like in many ways, the sun coming out here as the outcome card, and it's in the reverse position right now, I think that setting that card right, getting to that place where, not only is the sun shining on you, but you are the sun. Why am I quoting Grey's Anatomy right now? I am doing a Grey's Anatomy rewatch. Not rewatch, actually, just catch up. But, I'm so far past the you are the sun portion. But I think that it's actually an apt description of what you are meant to achieve here, pile 3. Is that I think that you are really primed for an artistic breakthrough here. And I think that that's a good metaphor for it, that you have been attempting to reflect the sun in your art, and you are on a journey toward actually becoming the sun, becoming the thing that shines. And I think that you will also be pleasantly surprised to find out that you land in a place of artistic stability and even emotional stability that doesn't really exist when you don't engage in this deep reflection. This strikes me as so philosophical in addition to artistic as well, though. So I think that you are wrestling with the big questions right now, like capital B, capital Q. This definitely could have to do with a grief journey. Yeah, losing a person that our minds and souls would never have had the conception that it was possible to lose prior to it actually happening and being thrown into it. That is definitely something that will throw you into wrestling with the big questions of life. Yeah, and with this Queen of Pentacles here, that speaks to a place of nurturing, stability. And I think that is something you have been struggling to provide for your own soul as of late. That might actually be a reason why it's been scary to dive into this place of deeper reflection. Because if what you have been experiencing is pain and uncertainty, then logic would dictate, if I dive even deeper into that, I'm going to make myself even more unstable, but that's not what's going to happen. The reverse is going to be true. You're going to find a place of solidity where you know that whatever life hands to you, you have the unique ability as an artist and a philosopher to turn it into something that, I mean, I know it sounds trite and cliche, which is sort of the opposite of what you're going for here. So I feel like I'm not really capturing your vibe 100%, but you have the ability to turn that pain into something truly beautiful. But even more importantly, I think that you have the ability to turn that pain into something that will help other people along their journey when they are traveling the same path. And there is really significant beauty in that as well, pile 3. And I think that that is something that you are very much meant to bring into this world. So yeah, I feel like the first thing that your ancestors want you to know, like first and foremost, the main thing is that they are supporting you in this really scary but really important deep dive into your own soul and your own pain. And also, I feel like they want you to know that what you are going through is not anything that they did not also go through in their own 3D incarnations. Yeah, because there's nothing like and this might not be a classic grief journey. You might be grieving the loss of, a life that you thought that you were going to have with someone. And now, you've broken up. That's really painful. Breakups are one of those things that are so common that I don't think people give them the weight that they are due in terms of how profound the grief is. Yeah, this could be the loss of like a little soulmate animal as well. Yeah, one thing you might want to think about, pile 3, especially if you're somebody who is into esoterica and like witchy energy or witchy adjacent energy, is that little animal might have been your familiar. And so you are going to be feeling something that is even so much more profound than a grief journey for just another animal that you loved. Yeah, and also I want you to think about expanding your idea of what constitutes art. And like I said, I feel like you are also a philosopher, pile 3. And so, yeah, you talking to your Instagram followers about your conclusions, your beliefs about a particular journey that you're going through. That's art. That's your art. Yeah, and I do think I mentioned in one of the other piles that I've been following a lot of deconstruction accounts lately, which is when people start to have more logically critical thoughts about high control faith traditions that they were raised in. And man, there's a lot of really powerful philosophical discussions going on in those spaces. So, and deconstruction could also be considered a grieving journey in many ways. So that could be something that you are going through, is letting go of some of the beliefs that you just assumed as you were growing up, and now you're starting to look at them more critically, and that can definitely feel like a significant loss. Yeah, let's see what your ancestors have to say. What do they want to say to you, pile 3? Ooh, multiple streams of income are coming your way. So yeah, maybe if you are a visual artist, maybe this is, a tip that it's time to, get that Redbubble store going. Or yeah, maybe you're about to experience a real boom in your follower count, or I don't want to make people sound like just numbers, but maybe your message is just going to be getting out there in a much more, numbers intensive sort of way. But yeah, I think, Oh, I think this has to do with this Queen of Pentacles card. When you become much more, when you engage in that reflection and you are much more sure of the strong point of view that you are coming from, there's going to be an ineffable confidence in your work that people are just going to be drawn to. Yeah, and I think that that will create economic stability in addition to artistic, like really strong, really powerful artistic expression. We are celebrating your success along with you. So I think there is a real theme here with these first two cards really talking about victories for you and up-leveling for you, that even during the times that this journey seems difficult, yeah, keep your eye on the prize. There are better days ahead. There are abundant days ahead. Watch the people and energies that surround you. So I'm taking two meanings from that. First of all, watch, like guard carefully, but also watch as in observe. I think that this is talking about if you want to level up artistically and or monetarily, surround yourself by people who are on a higher level than you and keep a really careful eye on how they handle things. There are things that you can learn there. Listen, now is the time to listen. Hello, what is the very first card that came out in this reading? It said listen. Absolutely. Yeah, this is really, there's a real emphasis here on the more, I was going to say passive, but that's not it. On the parts of the creative journey that are not about the actual creation. There's a real emphasis here on understanding that that is only the final step in a really powerful creative process. You know, it reminds me of something that they say about acting when you have a career in acting, that when you get the job, when you book the job, when you're on set, that's just the reward. The actual job is auditioning. And I think that there is a similarity to notice here. It's like when you actually sit down to write, when you actually turn on the camera to film, when you actually pick up a paintbrush and put it to canvas, that's the reward. That's not the job. The job is doing all the soul work that leads to the point where you have something to write, where you have something to say, where you have something to paint. You must break the chains. Be the one to break the cycle. We can only do so much. We will be here to help because we know it's hard. Yeah, that came through pretty strongly in the reading, that they are going to be here supporting you, and also that they understand this journey. Every single one of them walked versions of this journey on their own. So they absolutely can give you not only, emotional support, emotional strength and help, but they can give you legitimate intuitive guidance because they all know what this journey is from personal experience. The sooner you start believing in yourself, the sooner you'll start seeing the results you've been praying for continuously. Yeah, and I think that that's really interesting because something you might want to think about, because there were two cards, the very first two channeled messages, and really the Queen of Pentacles card as well, that speak to monetary abundance. So you might have some toxic beliefs or some limiting beliefs surrounding the idea of, that making money from your art is selling out, or that, art is only meant to be for art's sake. And if you're personally benefiting from it, that's not okay. None of these things are true, and they could really be stopping you from arriving at the place you are meant to be and from putting output into the world that people genuinely need to hear. Because while there are obviously, additional pressures and some additional drawbacks that come from actually making a living with your art, the one thing that it absolutely gives you is a lot more time to devote to it. And so your output can be of higher quality while at the same time being of higher quantity, because like I said, there's just like a lot more of your calendar is freed up to devote to it. And from picking what I'm picking up from your energy pile 3, I feel like that could only be a good thing. The world could only be improved by you putting more of yourself into it. Alrighty, so that is what I have for you. And I also feel like just one more thing that I feel drawn to say is that I feel like there is, take in this message in the same way that your ancestors are telling you to approach your art. It might feel confronting, but let it marinate and see what you think about it after a while. Just sort of, let it sit. Let it be peaceful. Let it, just sort of maybe pick at the edges of it mentally sometimes. And and then see where you land with it after a little while of letting it develop. So that is what I have for you. I would love it if you would comment below if this resonated with you. Subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this. If you want to connect with me for a personal reading, the information on how to do that is in the description. But most of all, I am just so happy that you were here, Pile 3, and I hope to see you again on another day for another reading. And I'm going to wrap this up by letting you know that I am proud of you. You matter, you are loved, you are worthy, and you are enough. You really are, Pile 3. You are enough. Okay, bye. Hello, Pile 4. If you chose the Strength card, you have arrived at your reading. And I will say, as I was doing my little pre-meditation here, the song that kept popping into my mind is this gospel song from the 90s called Strength by John P. Key. And so it talks about, one of the things that the chorus mentions talks about various types of strength. And it really started my mind thinking about the fact that there are two kind of main categories of strength that people refer to. There's a more passive strength, where you have the strength to withstand the things that life throws at you. And then there's a more active strength, where you are really sort of imposing your will on others. That sounds terrible. That sounds like a dictator. But basically, it's like the strength to sort of get things done. Strength to organize people. Strength to lead collectively as a group. And there are a lot of really powerful things that are accomplished that way. But it also started me thinking about how the different types of strengths are celebrated for the different genders. Like active strength, like that strength to lead, that authoritative strength is often more celebrated in men. And then that passive strength, like the strength to stand strong, to withstand abuse, is often more celebrated in women. And just the idea that all of us have masculine and feminine energies, but because of socialization, there is a chance that maybe your attentions or Your efforts have been more focused on developing one particular kind of strength. And so, yeah, that I think is just something to think about is, all of us need to have a healthy combination of those two types of strength, just like we have a healthy balance of masculine and feminine energies inside us. But like going into that with the understanding that, it may not be sort of as well received if it doesn't fit within the expectation of how we present to it society. And I think it's so fascinating that the very first card that comes out in this reading is shifting. Yeah, I think that there are changes, changes that are on the horizon. I think that you are on the cusp of a lot of journeys coming full circle. Like there's a lot of attention paid to the beginning of a journey. And I mean, especially those of us who are into esoterica, we listen to tarot readings. That is something that is often pointed out, like you're on the cusp of starting a new journey. But there's not as much attention paid to the middle of the journey, to when the journey is about to come to completion, to full circle. There are really specific ways that we require support and collaboration and things that we require of ourselves during those parts of the journey that, you start out with a lot of excitement, right? There's a lot of, where are we going to stop for lunch? Who's choosing the playlist energy during the first 20 minutes of a road trip that has somewhat waned by like hour 10 of being in a car with the same 4 people. So, yeah, I think that you are at a part of your journey, this really powerful journey of shifting into energies that are going to make you so well-rounded and really just create such a beautiful energetic profile. But I think that you are likely needing support that is not as frequently discussed or offered. So let's do it. Let's do that. Let's discuss it. Let's get into it. Let's see what your ancestors have to say about it. Love. Oh my gosh. This just made me think of the idea that so many times people try to overcomplicate art, overcomplicate an outfit, overcomplicate a song. And many times the most beautiful expression of an idea is the simplest expression of an idea, but just very immaculately executed. And so I think that this is a very strong example of that. Like love, one of the most discussed and in many cases purest and simplest expression of an emotion, of a powerful emotion. But it's also in many ways the most nuanced. Poets, songwriters, novelists have been, psychologists, philosophers, all of these people have been trying to capture, encapsulate, express the nature of love since the beginning of time. And obviously no one has absolutely perfectly and completely nailed it yet because we're still attempting it. And I think that that's kind of the beautiful thing about it, is that it's not even about arriving at the end of that journey where you're like, yes, I did it. I wrote a poem that says everything there is to say about love. It's not about trying to achieve a perfect end result. It's the journey. We all learn from the journey. Yes, love is a verb, so make it your most treasured action. Yeah, I think that is also interesting because I started out talking about the thing that came through to me during the meditation, which was that there are different kinds of strength. And that I think that there's been a particular focus in your life on one kind, and you're going to be shifting into bolstering and building up the other kind during this season. And love, I mean, there's not just two kinds of love, there's thousands of shades and colors of kinds of love. And I think that you have likely been focusing a lot of energy on one or a few kinds of love. And this is going to be a season of shifting into new expressions of love, but not just expressions, new understandings. Yeah, new experiences. Yeah, lived experiences of types of love that you would have never imagined would be so powerful. It's so interesting to me that people do love to get into competitions if there are two things that people in this world, and even particularly on the internet, love to get into competitions about, it's pain and it's love. So people will argue about well, you think you've experienced pain, but this is what I've been through. And you may think you know pain, but you don't know pain like my pain. And people will do the same thing about love. Well, that kind of love, like that, you may think that that's significant, but you're never going to know love until you experience love the way that I've experienced love. And I think one of the things that you are meant to be learning on a deeper and more profound level, and then taking that knowledge to, the people that surround you or even a broader public, is that love does not compete. Yeah, there's a Bible verse that talks about love is patient, love is kind. Yeah, so true love, pure love, doesn't look at another person's love and say, well, that's sweet for you, but it's not as valid as mine. Pure, true love meets another person where they are and just celebrates that they have something that fills their heart the same way you have something that fills yours. Yeah, and I think that that's something that's so lacking in the world today. Yeah, and speaking of pain, there's a thin line between love and pain. And in many cases, somewhere along the journey, love is going to involve pain. And so if we are able to approach others with this just radically inclusive, radically celebratory attitude toward the love that they experience, then we can also approach them. It's a very short step to approach them with this radically supportive energy toward their pain without judging it. Yeah, and without saying, well, yeah, that probably is hard, but nowhere near as hard as the things that I have experienced. That's never helpful. And here's the thing about statements like that and beliefs like that as well is maybe it's true. Maybe that's true. Maybe the pain they are currently experiencing is nothing compared to the pain that you had to go through. But even if it's true, does it make it helpful? Is there anything about knowing that at that moment that is going to ease their pain, that is going to help them learn from their pain? No, what they need is somebody to just meet them at their heart, to extend love to them in a time when, they might be encountering judgment. So something really powerful that happened to me when, so I had this little soulmate dog, Hercules, but I called him Hercules mostly. And he passed away about 5.5 years ago. He had cancer. And I mean, when I say he was my soulmate dog, like this dog was my heart, my literal heart. I worked from home. He was with me 24 hours a day. He saw me through some real tough times. I mean, and we were like tight, really tight, to the point that when I knew that he had cancer and I knew that it was not a matter of a cure, it was just a matter of how comfortable we could make him and how much time he was going to have. The anticipatory grief was almost overwhelming. Like, to the point that I actually wondered, how am I going to survive without him? Like, how am I going to look forward to anything after this? How am I going to see that there's any point to anything in life after he's not with me anymore? I couldn't see a life past it. And it wasn't like, I wasn't like making a plan like I don't want to live anymore, but I was just genuinely puzzled on how I was actually going to manage to get through every day without him there. It was a real worry of mine. And I was walking around in a fog. I was driving around in a fog. And one of the really beautiful things that I took away from that time, a lesson, was just the amount of grace that was extended to me by strangers. I'm sure many instances that I never even knew about, when I probably cut somebody off or when I bumped into someone at the grocery store. I was walking around like a zombie. I'm sure there were so many instances when people would have been so justified to just go off on me, scream at me, tell me to get my head out of my ass. Like, it would have been so justified, but there were so many instances when I was just met with nothing but unjustified grace. And I came out of that really amazed by that and really wanting to find opportunities to extend that same unearned grace to others. And, you know, who knows how successful I've been at that. I'm sure it's been a mixed bag. But that is the energy that people need when they're in pain. What I definitely didn't need and could not have handled at that point was somebody saying like, you know, I know you're sad, but it's just a dog. Like, maybe that's true, but it wouldn't have helped me at that moment. In fact, it might have kind of pushed me over the edge. The thing that actually bolstered me and like strengthened me during that time and allowed me to get through it was unearned love, unearned grace. Oh my goodness. And then we have peace. I mean, if love and peace are not two great tastes that taste great together, I don't know what is, because, man, yeah, sinking into love can feel like sinking into a warm bath. And, you know, there's a lot of different kind of shades and flavors of love. Like, some love is thrilling. Some love is a huge relief. But man, some of the best kinds of love are peaceful. Yeah, just that kind of like, take a deep breath, take the first sip of a cup of warm tea on a cold day. Just, yeah, that warmth sort of blooming through your chest. Mastery, building your area of expertise, expansive, prosperous. You know, I actually really like this concept, this metaphor, this idea of that love is a skill set. love is something that you can have a mentor in. It's something that you can enter into an apprenticeship. Yeah, I gotta say, I'm really kind of stunned by the color scheme here as well. Just these incredibly beautiful shades of turquoise and green. And then we've got like the pink of the sunset over here. We've got these pops of red. Yeah, it's a gorgeous color scheme, but there's a really noticeable shift from like the very muted pastels over here. And then we've got, the turquoise, which is a little bit more intense, this green color, which actually even on the shocker card moves from a more muted to a more intense shade of green as we go in this direction. And then on the mastery card, like it's much more intense and sharp colors. And I think that, this is also, I feel like, speaking to all the different moods and shades of love and of strength and of peace that there are. And exploring all of them. There's equal validity to all of them. There are times in your life when each of these different flavors or shades of these energies are going to be called upon. And I feel like times when we need to be able to intentionally call upon them so that we can express them to others. We can send that energy to other people who are in need. And just like when I was nursing Hercules through his final cancer journey, I was not in a place to give those energies to myself. And so I was the recipient of a lot of people who sort of picked me up and carried me through that time. And for many of them, the reason they were able to do that is because they had already explored those arenas of love and grace. And so they were able to call it up at will and extend it to me, which in turn, then gave me the ability to do that for others in the future. Yeah, this is a very pay it forward kind of spread here. It's the idea, I think, also of nothing is wasted. So even the most challenging times of our lives, there is good to take away from it because it builds our strength. It builds our empathy. It builds our capacity to experience different kinds of love and peace than we have in the past. And once we have those, it's kind of like how they say, you never forget how to ride a bike. And I think that there are a lot of skills that when you have engaged in them enough that you've reached the level of mastery, it's a very Eight of Pentacles thing, that becomes muscle memory at that point. So it could have been 50 years since you exercised a certain muscle of peace or a certain muscle of love. But in the moment where you're called upon to extend it to someone else, you'll be able to. Because, once you achieve mastery, it never really goes away. It's like jumping back on a bike. Oh, well, those cards fell off of the table and too far for me to reach them. So, sorry cards, you took yourself out of the running. Yeah, interesting that the first card to come out is Justice, which is the idea of balance, which is the idea that we actually started this reading off on before a single card even hit the board. the idea of shifting, of bolstering areas of strength, areas of love, areas of peace, of shifting from the place that we're comfortable into a place where we need to build that muscle to bring things full circle. Yeah, bring things into balance. Yeah, I feel like there are emotional areas where you are out of balance right now simply because historically you've devoted a lot more time into building up one particular muscle within that arena. And so, yeah, the others need to be built at this point and strengthened. Okay, here's what I think is interesting about this Eight of Swords card, is that one sword is pictured laying on the ground. You don't need to knock down all 8 swords for this person to be able to stand up and walk out of the mental prison that their thoughts have surrounded them in. All you have to do is knock down one. And then, picture another person in this artwork, another person who has knocked down that one sword, who then extends a hand and helps this person stand up, reaches out and helps them to take their blindfold off, pulls them forward and guides them out of this prison of swords, prison of thoughts that they have encircled themselves in and trapped themselves in. Yeah, so you don't have to know everything. In this case, you just have to have that one key piece of wisdom, that one key piece of experience that you gained through your own Eight of Swords experience. That's all you need to help set someone else free. I love the fact that the very next card we get is Three of Pentacles. Because, yeah, that is the energy that I feel like the world really needs right now. Oh, and then I just heard that song, What the World Needs Now is Love, Sweet Love. But with Three of Pentacles, yeah, collaboration, working cooperatively toward a common goal, being on the same team. There are so many ways in which we are divided right now. And I'm definitely not going to be one of those people that's like, well, can't we just, we have so much more in common than what divides us. Why can't we just, ignore our differences and focus on, no, because some of those differences are human rights issues. Some of those differences are really actually important. But I also feel like more progress could be made on, the truth is those differences are real and they do exist, but that doesn't mean that the world just gets to grind to a halt. They are real. That's what we do need to accept, is that people do exist in the world with just very drastically different philosophies and ideas and beliefs than we have. And right now, I feel like there's a lot of collective global energy toward just railing against them and that. But if we could develop empathy, that's what this message is. That there is a way to develop empathy for people's emotional experience and emotional journey. And there's a way to be on a team with them and work collaboratively toward the common goal of running this world in a way that works and serves people who need it without co-signing to their ideas. I think that's the missing piece that a lot of people can't really move past, that it's if I accept that this person is even a valid human being in any way, then I've co-signed their terrible ideas. And I think that from across a philosophical spectrum, people have that idea, but I think that that's really not true. Yeah, and I think that that's something that we need to understand is extending empathy to someone and working with them collectively toward a common goal that we can agree on doesn't mean that we've sort of like co-signed or even approved or condoned every idea they have. But in many ways, like the world has sort of ground to a halt while we all just sort of scream at each other. And that's not working either. So this could be a way to move forward even a little bit. Oh, interesting with the King of Pentacles, because the Queen of Pentacles came out in a pretty prominent way in pile 3. So yeah, pile 3 could be speaking to, yeah, someone that's very important to you, or it could be, yeah, it could be another pile that has messages for you because it's speaking to another part of your journey, another part of your spirit. But yeah, I absolutely, so with the King of Pentacles, I do feel like your ancestors want to support you in a journey that will ultimately lead to a place of abundance and stability for you individually. But I also think that you have a calling on you, pile 4, to be a person that is a leader in bringing this energy of balance and stability to the world at large. And I feel like it's a pretty important calling, honestly. Ooh, I think another real misconception about callings like this is that the significance of them is in direct proportion to the amount of people that you ultimately influence. That is very much not the case. Whether you are a person who has a platform of millions that you influence with a message of empathy and peace, or whether that's your immediate family, we don't get the privilege and ability from our 3D perspective here on Earth to see the way that our actions, kind of, yeah, like when you throw a stone in the water and then you have the sort of widening circles. All we can do from our perspective here in the 3D is throw that stone in the water. Do our part. Do what we are led to. We don't get to see all of the circles that result from it. But that doesn't mean they're not real. And so I think that is, yeah, that's probably going to be one of the really, really fun parts of when we incarnate into the 5D initially, is we'll get to see a lot of the really amazing results that came from our actions. I think that's going to be, yeah, humbling. I think it'll probably be really humbling. But I think, yeah, whether the size of the calling on your life is to affect, like I said, millions, or just the people that are in your immediate circle, the one thing that I know for sure, because I can feel it like very strongly intuitively, like to the point that I almost feel a little dizzy right now, is it's an important calling. It's a critical calling. You are a person that the earth needs right now. Yeah, I mean, the world is at a crossroads right now. And we need people to speak up for these important energies and bring them into balance with this Justice card. Love, strength, peace, empathy. And I think that you are a very powerful emissary of that, pile 4. And the spiritual and emotional work that you are doing, I mean, I really, like I said, I actually feel a little dizzy and lightheaded right now. I honestly think the importance of your calling cannot be overstated. Hydrate and feed your body. Don't forget about us as well. Oh, now that's really interesting because this whole reading was all about the importance of the spiritual call that's on your life and the spiritual ascension journey that you are in the process of right now. And so, yeah, I think that's another thing about bringing things into balance is don't focus so much on the esoteric that you forget the practical. Like, yeah, absolutely don't forget to eat healthy meals that nourish your body. Absolutely don't forget to drink the water that your body desperately needs to function well and survive. Yeah, taking care of the physical as well as the spiritual, very important. Yeah, it's so interesting how it really seems, it's actually like a very powerful metaphor or example of exactly what this reading is about is every time I feel like, oh, we've explored all of the different angles of balance, of bringing things full circle, of, yin yang energy, of all of this stuff. And then a card comes out that it's like, oh, yeah, that's a whole other aspect I didn't even think of. You are so much closer than you think. Keep going. Yeah, that takes it right back to when I was talking about there's a lot of support and conversation around the beginnings of journeys, but that's not where you're at. You are in the thick of it. But I would say, like, if I were to put a number on it based on what I'm feeling, you are probably at like the 85 to 90% mark before you're just like bringing things full circle left and right. And, there's a reason why there are a lot of phrases conceptualizing the idea of the last part is the hardest part. Like the one that's coming to mind very strongly right now is that it's always darkest before the dawn. So yeah, if you feel lost and like giving up, please understand that's a very natural part of the journey. And what you need is support. Yeah, just reach out. Yeah, what you need is support and community. Your ascension is here. You are leveling up. It might be challenging, but you will get through it. Hi. Okay, in today's lesson on nutshelling an entire reading in one card, may I draw your attention to your ascension is here. You are leveling up. It might be challenging, but you will get through it. Yes. Thank you, Pile 4's ancestors. That was a lovely and succinct way to put it. Your crown chakra needs some attention. Clean your space and capture your thoughts to help clear your mind. Ooh, I think that's very good advice from your ancestors, but it also draws my attention to the idea that, another really important aspect of spirituality that requires balancing is chakras. So yeah, this might be a good opportunity to really learn more about chakras, to do some chakra balancing work. It makes us happy to see you heal. You are doing a great job. We know it can be hard, but you are strong and you will be fine. Yeah, you might be really at a place where you feel like there is no end in sight to this journey. And it really seems like you need some encouragement of people just telling you, I have walked this journey before. I know that this is hard, but you are going to come out so much stronger on the other side. Your ancestors are telling you, they are telling you that really clearly, and they are there to support you at any time you need them. But I feel like, yeah, you might need to reach out to some people in the 3D who have also walked this journey before. Because, yeah, I feel like support, you need some support. Okay, it's okay if you haven't figured it all out yet. Like, oh my God, how amazing would that be to figure it all out? Like, is there anybody that has? I would really love to interview them for my podcast called Please Tell Me How to Do Life Like You Do It, because I certainly have not figured everything out. I don't think anybody has. It's okay if you haven't figured it all out yet. That is the beauty of a journey. You get to decide where to go next. Yeah, and I think that you are aware of this calling on your life, or at least that you have a powerful calling on your life. And yeah, I think that you are in a part of your journey that your antenna are a little dark right now. And so you don't have the clarity about next steps that I think you're used to having, because you have always had this innate ability to like connect and see the pathway ahead of you. And it's a little foggy right now. And I'm sure that that's incredibly disconcerting. But yeah, I think the thing to remember is you are going through this for the purpose of helping other people who go through this same journey in the future. There is a purpose. Yeah, there is power in what you're experiencing because you have a powerful calling. Alrighty, so that is what I have for you, Pile 4. I would love it if you would comment below if it resonated with you. I would love to know how. I love connecting with people in the comments. If this resonated with you, I would also super appreciate it if you would like. That really helps the channel, helps this video reach other people. Subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this in the future. If you want to connect with me for a private reading, the instructions are in the description box. And most of all, though, Pile 4, I am just really happy that you were here today. And I hope to see you again on another day for another reading. And I want to wrap this up by letting you know that I am proud of you. I really am. I am so proud of you, Pile 4. This is not an easy season you're walking through. But I am proud of you. You matter. You are loved, you are worthy, and you are enough. Okay, bye, Pile 4.